We are cooking today. I'm doing crab cake Benedict. This is a Chrissy Teigen recipe. I'm pulling it from her book. We're gonna be doing a couple different things. So it's an eggs Benedict, but instead of a biscuit or muffin or so for it to sit on, it's actually going to be on a crab cake. We're going to be using that, and I'll probably use a little bit of spinach. So we have a lot of flavory things that's going to be going into it. But the cakes themselves are supposed to get chilled for an hour. I don't think I'm going to do a full hour. I'm also making a little bit less. I'm going to be doing a half recipe of it. So we're going to see how that goes. And I'm hoping that what I get out of it is 2 crab cakes. So we'll do 2 crab cakes, 2 eggs. Oh God, show. Hey, got it first try. Nice. Okay, so we're taking 1 egg mixed with some mayo, mustard, sriracha. Oh, so here's the mayo. Tablespoons, not teaspoons, right? Tablespoon. So I need a tablespoon of the mayo here. This is mayo. So we got egg. So I have 2 different versions of sriracha. We're actually going to use, so this is the seasoning and this is more the sauce. I think we're going to use the seasoning for this part because I really wasn't sure. It just said to use sriracha and I'm like, I wonder which one it is, because when I searched it I saw that both were an option. So I think for the actual crab cake we're going to use the seasoning, but then for the hollandaise, which is sriracha hollandaise, we're going to use the sauce. All right. Oof, that is a gorgeous smell. That is an absolutely gorgeous smell. Dijon mustard. Dijon. It's French. I don't know. I'm not really a big mustard person, but not a whole lot. Just tossing that in. Just enough. So let's. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. Mix it. Just tossing in the chives. A lot of this. Just a tad. Just a tad. Alright. So this is more or less our seasoning that's going to go in with the crab cake. So this is egg, mayo, sriracha, salt, pepper, mustard, and that sauce. Dog's so bad at saying it. Ooh. Now that that's in, I have, these are actually, this isn't the type of breadcrumb I'm supposed to use, but it's the type of breadcrumb that I have. Because I forgot to get breadcrumbs. So we don't need a whole lot. She said, she makes a point that it's a binding. It's to bind it, not to enhance it. We're using it as a binder. This is Italian herbs and cheese bread. And then we've got the crab meat. Ooh. Was not, considering the container, I was not expecting this to have a full tab. So this is claw meat. Wild caught. Oof. It's been so long since I've had seafood. And I don't need a whole lot. I really don't. I think it's... Okay, never mind. I take that back. I actually do. Well, it was supposed to be like a 3/4 pound. And this is like 8 ounces. So half a pound. It's enough that it makes sense. I probably won't use all of this. It's actually probably good. The big thing is that you need it to not be too between the meat and the breadcrumbs, you need it to actually be able to hold shape, because we're going to deep fry it in the end. It needs to be able to be bound. So what we're going to do now is split this in 2. The goal is to make the cakes. which is basically like making a burger patty. Alright, so here's one cake. And another. So 2 is all I wanted. Boop, boop. Right. I can imagine. Alright, so now we are actually going to be starting doing the hollandaise, and it's got quite a few different mixtures. It's actually more of a spicy hollandaise to match the crab cakes more so than the eggs benedict, and it's going to be using a 1/4 cup of the mayo first here. Now we're going to be putting in about 2 tablespoons of the sriracha, and unlike with the cakes where I use the dried spice, I'm actually using a hot sauce for this one, just because it is more of a sauce that we're creating. Now we're just putting in a pinch of salt. And here's going to be about 1/2 tablespoon of garlic, but who's counting? Just put all the garlic in. Garlic's the best. We're going to now just kind of stir this up until all of it is mixed very well, and when we're done stirring and getting it mixed, we'll just be putting it in the fridge until we need it at the end. Next up, we need to get the deep fryer ready while the cakes are still kind of cold. I have them in the freezer by now, and we'll be pouring all of this oil into the pan so that we can get just enough where it's not going to cover the cakes, but it is going to fry them probably about half at a time, so the bottom half, top half, because we're going to be flipping them over. So now we've got the cakes out, and we're ready to get them into the oil, which has been heated. First cake. Second cake. You're going to be letting them cook so that the bottom half starts to look really more done. It'll be browning and changing colors. That's how you know it's going. It's probably going to be just for a little bit. You just want to keep an eye on it. I think it took only about a few minutes each side, and then flip them if you can. There's like, spatula might be the better way if you have a metal one. I don't, so not the easiest choice here. And then you're just going to cook the bottom side. Just try to keep an eye to make sure that they're cooked all the way through. Once they are, you're going to want to put them off onto a plate so that you can let them cool. Maybe even have them on a paper towel if you'd like to kind of drain some of the oil, but not all of it. Now we're going to simmer water to make the poached eggs. We're putting just a little bit of a white vinegar into it. We're going to stage our plate because we're going to be popping the eggs straight onto the cakes. I'm using a spinach base instead of arugula, which is what Chrissy Teigen was using in hers. Just adding a little bit of spinach to a plate here. Now we're going to be putting the crab cakes on top of the spinach. They're kind of our almost the ham layer, if you're going to say that the spinach is the bun. And then, so poached eggs, I'm really bad at, and right now, one of the top tips I've ever seen was that if you crack the egg into a strainer first, it gets all the bits off of the egg that doesn't actually connect to the egg anymore, and so that you're going to be able to have a firmer egg, because all that's left behind is more tightly bound without it spreading out and kind of messing up your water. I'm not the best at that, but it takes a lot of precision to do it this way. I'm just not great at eggs at all. I'm just terrible at poached eggs, but I'm getting a little bit better. The second one looked quite a bit better than the first one did. Got it. My spoon has some slots in the bottom just to make sure that the water gets drained out when we pull it out. Not always. I think this one had a little pocket of water that was still in it from kind of rolling over. It goes on top of the crab cakes. Next, you put your hollandaise on top. In this case, spicy crab hollandaise. It's almost like, I think it's called like Romulo, something like that. I don't know, it's just what Ruby Tuesdays called it.
Now we need to do the avocado. This is probably the first time I've ever personally done an avocado, so I just kind of made it up as I went along trying to get into it. It was much thicker than I probably wanted for this because I don't really have any other use for avocado right now. But just needed to get sliced open, and we needed at least 1/2 of it and to actually eat. This one was really, really soft, and I don't know what's best avocado. I think they said that the softness matters. You don't want it too soft. You want it almost a little bit more firm, but not too firm. And I just kept, but it color-wise, it wasn't a bad color because it wasn't browning yet on the inside, so it still was a pretty decent 1/1. But we got things sliced through so that we can add it to the plate. You really need the avocado with the rest of the taste, especially with the spicy sauce, and I had used a pretty hot sauce compared to just a straight sriracha as well. Now you're staged. Let's try this shit. The runny eggs really kind of mixed in well with the sauce, and then you really wanted to make sure you got a bite of the avocado because freaking look at that! Ugh! It was so tasty. It was hot, it was tasty, it was cool, it was everything I needed it to be. This was such a fucking great taste. I'm really glad that we made it. Chrissy did a fantastic job with this recipe. You wouldn't really think of it when you hear it. It's a crab cake, it's an eggs benedict, but crab and egg, even with the spinach, and especially with that spicy sauce, perfect.